Gill. Gilly, how are you this morning?
Peter, I like this role of you having to interview me.
It is a flip-flop. It is a reversal. It is a reversal, I guess, in Uno, whatever that card is, where it's flip to, skip to you, something like that. But I was talking with Cole at the start of the show about that monsoon we had last night, and you were a victim of that.
Yes, because of that monsoon, we are here in Summers Point getting ready to resume last night's game. We're in the third inning, and I got to be honest, the guys did an unbelievable job of getting this field ready, because when we left here last night, I figured that we would be out for the entire day, but the field is ready to go in Summers Point. It looks fantastic, and Joe Luftblad and Al Becker and Bill Rosino and a lot of our parents, fans, they got this field ready to go. So the tournament will resume at 10 this morning after last night's monsoon knocked us out for a couple hours.
Yeah, I texted you during the Phillies game late. I thought it was almost like quarter to midnight or 10 till midnight, and I just figured you were home at your place, maybe flipping through channels, and I texted you something about the Phillies, and you said no. And then I said, well, you're home, aren't you? And you said no. And then the light bulb went on like, oh, man, you had to wait out all that rain.
Yeah, well, we played through a steady rain for the most part, and the umpires did a good job of trying to get us, going, and then the sky opened up, and we could not continue after that. So we're back here. We're up 6-0 in the third inning. When we resume, we're playing brick, and if we win, this is what happens now, is if we win this morning, because of everything getting pushed back, we got to come back tonight at 8 o'clock and play.
Oh, boy. Long days for sure. On the A-Shore State Tournament. Now, this is A-Shore 13U, the 13-year-olds. Last year's 13-year-olds won the World Series. So where are some of those kids now?
Right, yeah, that was the 14-year-olds who won the World Series. They're now 15 years old. They're playing tonight. Their game was supposed to be at 10 this morning up in Hamilton, but they, too, got pushed back because of rain. They're going to play at 4 o'clock this afternoon. Now, those kids, you probably recognize some of those kids. Nick Atoy, who I believe is pitching tonight for the 15-year-olds, he is, on mainland varsity team. He pitched them in a playoff game. He was on the Carpenter Cup team. Devin Sharkey is on that team. He also played some varsity baseball for mainland this year. You got Cole Vanderslice. You got Frankie Curtin, who played some varsity over at Atlantic City. You've got Nick Abrams, who played varsity baseball at Atlantic City. I hate leaving some guys out, but I don't coach that team anymore, and there's a lot of new faces. But they've got a core group of guys, Solomon Griffith, who's been on that team for 3 years. They're trying to be a team that won a state championship 3 years in a row, and I don't believe that's ever happened before in our program, that one group of kids won at 13, 14, and 15. So those World Series players, it shows you, the level of competition, and they are excelling at the high school level. Because, Pete, as you saw, you talk about the program Atlantic Shore and where are some of these kids now. That group that first went to the World Series back in 2011, they're all finished up now. And you see Kyle Gerace is getting ready to go off to Rutgers. You had a lot of guys. Dean DeVinny played for mainland. You had a lot of guys who were on that team that have kind of been filtering through, and now their careers are ending. And this new crop, they're all the young guys that we're reading about and hearing about on the South Jersey Sports Report each week because they came through the program.
Yeah, Dean DeVinny, great kid. I love his story, and I love him off the field as much as on the field. So I'll loop back, and I know you hate when I do this. This is an awful way to interview when you go forward and then back. But you said you don't coach the 14-year-old kids. Well, you do coach the 13-year-olds. Why don't you tell me about your current team?
Yeah, and by the way, that group that won the World Series last year as 14s, they're now 15s. That was Dave Geiger and Dennis Foreman who coached that team. Bill Rosino and Jack Taggart are coaching the 15-year-olds tonight. And our 13-year-olds who are kind of walking across in front of me right now, I hope they're awake. I hope they got the message, because I got called at 6:30 this morning and was told that we were playing. But, we got a bunch of kids that are from, like, Upper Ocean City, the mainland region. We've got a couple kids from Ventnor and one kid from Brigantine. And we're playing brick. And, this is a group of kids who, a lot of people, the last couple of years we've been told, oh, wow, you got this group coming through, and you got this group coming through. Well, this group here has kind of been under the radar, and I think they've kind of been taking that personally, and you saw that last night. We came out and scored 6 runs. And, it's a very, very good group of kids. And we'll see. This is our first state game. We're kind of resuming it right now. But, that's the one thing about it. These kids, they all play against each other during the course of the year. Then they come together. It's kind of still that one. In a world that doesn't really have a lot of hometown pride anymore, Pete, this is still like the one hometown pride kind of thing that we try to preach is, hey, you're out here representing your team and your town and obviously the league. And I think that's something that gets lost a lot of time in this world.
You could do it like the voiceover guy, in a world where you're representing your team.
In a world where your city is all that matters.
Where the field doesn't wash away because the grounds crew does a great job getting it ready. Mike Gill's with us here on the South Jersey Sports Report.
Brody Levin wants me to say his name on the radio real fast.
Well, there you did. Brody Levin.
Yeah.
You have been said. You have been named, shouted out on 97.3 ESPN. So Mike Gill's with us. He's the host of the Sports Bash.
I don't want to forget my man Justin Beretta and Eric Hennis while they're walking by me either.
Hit them all, man. Just hit them all. Jump in and hit them all. He's the coach of the A Shore Devils as well, and that's the 13-year-old team, and they're hosting the state tournament in Summers Point. A little weather issue last night, but they're going to resume this morning at 10 o'clock. Now, Mike, how many years for you coaching baseball at this level?
This is my 10th year coaching, I believe. If memory serves, I think it's my 10th year right now. And I coach in Ventnor during the regular season. It's not just the All-Stars and all about the All-Star players. I coach in Ventnor during the course of the year. And about 2011, now I've coached the All-Star team ever since I got into the program. I was a young guy when I got in the program. I played baseball in college and high school, and I really like just being out on the field. People say, why do you coach? You don't have any kids. And I'm like, you know what? I just like being outside. I like teaching. I like, being in the atmosphere. And I've met a lot of great friends and people through just coaching that have now become my friends and their parents. And that's one of the reasons. And then in 2011, the 15-year-olds were becoming such a pain in my ass that I decided that I was going to go coach 13-year-olds because they're actually still wanting to listen. And so in 2011, I went down to the 13-year-olds, and I've been doing the 13-year-olds since 2011 . So this is my 10th year and maybe my last year there, PT.
Can I ask you?
I say that with the president sitting right next to me. So
right, you're leveraging. You're leveraging. Can I ask you if you were?
My contract's up. I need a higher salary.
That's right. Sign on that dotted line. Mike Gill with us on the South Jersey Sports Report. Do you remember where you were at 13 and what you were like?
Do I remember me playing at 13?
Just your life at 13.
Yeah. Sure. It's funny because when I was 12, we won the districts in Margate. Margate Little League doesn't even exist anymore, which is a sad story for another topic that you can bring up on the show whenever you fill in, PT. But Margate Little League basically ceases to exist, which was kind of the top program in the area with Hamilton all throughout the 80s and the 90s there, and it's now gone. But we won the district there at 12. We got to 13, and none of us grew. So that was a problem. And we beat Hamilton when we were 12. We played them again at 13, and I think they beat us about 29. They beat us like 29-6 or something like that. But, it's funny because back then we now have Babe Ruth, Atlantic Shore, which did not exist where I lived. We played senior league back then, which was, hey, you're on Joe's Pizza and I'm on Mac's hairdo shop, and what team are you on? Oh, I'm on Charlie's.
No Chico's bail bonds. There were no Chico's bail bonds.
No, we did have PBA though, the Police Benevolent Association. That was kind of your Chico's bail bonds. There, and no, we just had a little. We had enough kids to play in our own town against each other, and then what you would do is you would take the kids from those teams and make an all-star team, and then you'd play against other towns. Well, we don't have enough kids to do that anymore. That's why Atlantic Shore is what it is, where you say, well, how do you have all these kids from all these towns? Well, guess what? Each town only has one team. So think of Ventnor as Chico's Bail Bonds, and think of Brigantine as, Joe's Pizza. Right. Margate has no team anymore, not enough kids. Summers Point has no team anymore, not enough kids. Armand, you're pitching, by the way. You got to loosen up.
Coaching and talking at the same time.
Well, he didn't know because last night's game was suspended, and we got to pick it back up. You're in a little conundrum. Do I go back to the kid who threw last night and bring them right back today? Remember, they're only 13 years old, so you got to watch their arms and stuff like that. So we got to we got to change pitchers in the middle of the game here. But, so the towns are dying, Pete. You know, Brigantine and Absecon had to come together to form a team. Summers Point and Linwood have come together to form a team. Margate doesn't have a team anymore. They sent their kids over to Northfield. I coach in Ventnor. We ended the year with 10 kids playing baseball in the town of Ventnor. I mean, it's sad, and it goes back to the town pride thing. You know, that's just kind of out the window with a lot of people anymore, and it's a shame. It really is. But the kids that are out here, you know, I had a parent that came up to me the other day, and this is, you know, why you do it, is she said to me, you know, these kids play a lot of baseball, but they are sure having a lot of fun playing on this team. And it's because, you know, they get to be, you know, play together. They get to play for something. There's a light at that end of the tunnel. You're trying to win a state championship. And a lot of times that kind of gets lost in translation with what you're doing it for, you know. But the fact that they're having a good time is really what it's all about. And when you see kids just not playing, it's sad sometimes.
You may be the easiest guest I've had all morning. I mean, just pull the string, and Mike Gill goes and goes and goes.
Well, I know that you probably don't have any questions prepared for me there, Peter.
I'm holding them in my hand. Cole Raring can attest that I not only typed up questions, I'm holding them in my hand, and the last one I have is about, I think, the 14-year-olds, if I got that fact right, are hosting the regionals at the Sandcastle at the end of the month.
That is correct, and that's the group that I had last year. And they are now 14. They went to the regional quarterfinals last year, and now they are back as 14-year-olds hosting again at the Sandcastle. And they have a lot of kids on that team that you might remember from a couple of years ago. They made a run in Little League. Gannon Brady, Brian Fury, Eric Greenling. They got a lot of kids that played on that Little League team a couple of years ago that a lot of people probably read about in the paper. Really talented bunch, by the way. And, you know, they'll play, I think, tonight. They were supposed to play last night. This is what, tournament baseball is. Last night they drove up to Hamilton, got there, only to be told, hey, the field's not ready. You're going to go home.
Oof.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, we're visiting with Mike Gill. He is the host of the Sports Bash, of course. He's the coach of the A Shore Devils, 13-year-olds. Now, I know why I got all these numbers wrong, by the way. I did do my facts, and I wrote everything down, but I was too busy thinking over, under, done, and trying to figure out those lines. So that was my issue.
Yeah. Is this done?
Yeah, we're over, we're under, we're done. Hey, go coach him up, Gilly. MG, talking with the PT, a little role reversal as I ask the questions, and he answers them. It's Mike Gill with us on the South Jersey Sports Report. Thanks, buddy, and we'll talk soon.
All right, man. Have a good weekend, everybody, and thanks for filling in there, PT.
You got it, boss. Mike Gill with us on the South Jersey Sports Report. I heard a little take care in there as you were potting him down. Cole Raring on the other side of the glass as he's producing the show. We are here with you until 10 o'clock with